Hailing from the backwoods of New Jersey, welcome to the Jersey Guys Music Podcast, where we feature in-depth music discussions and interviews with special guests from the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and AOR music. So settle in and crank it up. Now, here are your hosts, the Jersey Guys themselves, Tom and Mark.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Jersey Guys podcast. I'm Mark, here with my co-hosts Tom and JJ. Joining us today is singer Frank Vestry. This is a guy who's had a long history in the Long Island, New York scene back in the 80s, but he's been involved in a lot of cover bands down in Florida where he's been for the last 9 years. So we're going to talk about all that stuff and more. Welcome to the show, Frank.
How you doing, guys? A pleasure to be here. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for taking some time to talk with us tonight. I figured let's go way back to the early days before all those bands we could talk about from Long Island and stuff like that you've done throughout your career. But let's start, and I know we just talked about this with JJ. Let's go back to those early days, you growing up, how you got into becoming a singer. I know your parents were musical and both singers. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so crazy story. My mom and dad actually met town contest, a singing competition in Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn, like Tom, and I only lived there for about 3. But before I was born, when my mom and dad met, they were in this competition, and they happened to both be singing the same song. And my grandmother, at the time, my mom's mom, went up to my dad and she said, "You can't sing that song. Sing that song." And my dad said, "No, I have to do it because I've been practicing it for 2." Anyway, my dad won the contest, and I think mom came in second.
Oh, wow.
And they they had this attraction, but it was a long time ago, so it wasn't for him to, get her number or anything like that. So they lost touch. And then months later, they happened to bump into each other. And they were taking vocal lessons from the same singing teacher. And they reconnected. They started dating, and they eventually got married. So naturally, I became a singer because parents were surrounded by it. My mom, she pretty much, she was kind of a lounge singer, and she stopped when she became a mother, and a wife. But my dad, it was pretty much he did it for his whole life. And I remember when I was 7, my dad taking me to some of his shows, believe it or not, and I'd stay up till all hours of the night. Probably could never do that now because it's a different world we live. But at the time, my dad would take me to his gigs, and I would hang out. Not all the time, but if I had my mom and dad were separated. So if I had a visitation at my dad's house, sometimes he'd take me to a show. I'd be up late. At the end of the show, people wanted to take pictures with my dad, shake his hand. And so I was around the excitement of it. And that's kind of how I got used to it. I was always a night owl, which I still am. So that was fun. I filled in for Tony Bennett. He was very popular in the Tri area. He was on telethon, Joe Franklin show. He headlined at the Copacabana and the Latin Quarter, which were like the big places back then. And Tony Bennett had a 7-day engagement in New Jersey, and he got sick. So he could only do 5 of the 7 days, and my dad fill in for him for the other 2 nights that he couldn't make it, because my dad was pretty well known in the area. So, I still have a poster of when my dad filled in with him and played with his orchestra. So that was a pretty big deal. And You
I've seen
know,
you,
being around.
the poster Frank you're talking about. I've seen you put it on Facebook a while
Yeah.
ago.
Mhm.
But fantastic. Basically, that's history, nostalgia. Your dad is literally the main guy. Tony Bennett wants to come in to fill in for him and everything. I mean, in your home life, when your dad was doing all this stuff, it must have been incredible. It must have been, that's my dad. He's this, this superstar, whatever you want to call it. Fantastic times.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was exciting to be around. And I also, my dad was also good friends with some celebrities that used to come to his shows. So this is a true story. When I was 3 years old, my dad was very good friends with Rocky Marciano, who was the heavyweight
Whoa.
champ of the world.
Yeah.
And we got invited to his house in Florida. We lived in New York at the time. He lived in Florida. And my mom and my dad and myself, when I was 3, stayed at Rocky's house for a week as his guests. And I remember
Wow.
jumping on the trampoline with him when I was a little tyke.
Really?
And
Fantastic.
yeah, he was also my dad was friends with Rocky and some of the Yankees, even though we're huge Met fans. I hate to admit it, but my dad was buddies. My dad was a Mets fan, but he was friends with Whitey Ford. And I met Whitey a few times, and I had his autographed picture and everything. And my dad was telling me a story about one night when he wasn't singing. They were planning to go out and have a few drinks with the guys. So Whitey called him up and said, Mickey's going to come out with us tonight. And my dad said, Mickey said, yeah, Mickey Mantle. So the 3 of them went out drinking. And my dad told me that at the end of the night, my dad and Whitey had a key up to his house because he got so hammered he couldn't even walk.
Wow.
Tom could do it. Tom could do a baseball podcast with you right now.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, it's interesting you said that, because my father went to high school with Whitey Ford. They went to the same high school. Ford was a senior, my father was a freshman. And Ford obviously was drafted, and my dad was drafted out of that same high school, but lasted like 3 months in the Dodgers. I guess it was like a rookie, fundamental starting camp, and got drafted into the Korean War. And that was the end of that. I mean, back in those days, I remember talking to my father about it. When you came back, it was go find a job, not like, you're going to pursue your baseball dream the way it is today.
Yeah.
Ford was born in, I believe, 29, and my father was born in 32. And they lived in the same housing complex too in Astoria.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your dad was in the Korean War. My dad was as well. And when my dad was in the Korean War, his job was to entertain the troops. He was in the band, and in the Korean War that entertained the troops. He had a famous accordion player called Dick Contino. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was like one of the most famous accordion players in the world. Ron, and he and my dad were in the same band in Korea.
Wow.
That's pretty.
What year was your dad born?
34. No, maybe 31. You said your dad was 32. They were probably same age, maybe a year.
Yeah.
31, I believe. Yeah.
But I as I got older, I talked to my father a lot about Ford, and he was telling me, he said he was a fantastic basketball player too. He said he was a great athlete. He said he was like a guy that was actually, I mean, basketball back in those days wasn't, the premier sport it is today. But he said he was a tremendous basketball player as well.
And a lefty too.
And a lefty, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say something now that Frank and Tom are going to get offended by, but you know, in England we call baseball rounders.
Which means what and what does that mean exactly?
It's again, I've been to baseball games in the States. I love going, but rounders in England is a children's game. Same thing, four bases. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's seen as a exercise game.
So you're basically taking a piss on baseball. Yeah. I don't mind telling you that there's a large majority of us in the States that think that about soccer or football.
Speaking of baseball, Game 7 is on right now. I have it on mute.
I know.
Yeah. 1-0 Seattle.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
I'll just before we stop talking about baseball, I'll tell you something really interesting that I appreciated when I was in Florida. So I went to see the Marlins against the Red Sox, and but we buy tickets, and then we do the same thing as we do with watching football, soccer in England. We find our seats, whatever. So anyway, we get to the stadium, and first of all, it's great. You know, the roof's closed. It's beautiful temperature inside. It's great. On the top level is a Budweiser bar, which is like a balcony bar. You can drink, watch the game up there. So we're up there, and then these sales ladies come over from the Dominican brewery, El Presidente beer, and literally give me a book of vouchers to drink free for the whole game. So I remember nothing about the whole match. Basically, I had a really good time, but I met some Boston guys upstairs, and they're like hardcore English football fans. They told me stories about, like you guys were saying just now, about fathers, grandfathers watching baseball. Fantastic, you know. And then I literally understood baseball is the reason why it's a national sport in America is because it's a historic sport. You know, generations take the kids, take the grandkids. You know what I mean? It's a real sort of a day out, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So hearing these stories now is fantastic. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are a music podcast, so let's jump back into music.
Yeah, right?
I get sidetracked this very easy at this point. That's why I'm staying quiet.
I have to give my cat some treats because he will not stop meowing.
Okay. we got another co-host.
Mark, put a subline underneath Jersey Guys, AOR, Hard Rock, and Sports.
And sports. There you go. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Stories about everything from baseball to the music. Right.
Yeah, I could hear the cat, Frank. Is she hungry?
Oh my gosh. Just meows all night long. All right, I'm back. Sorry.
No, so I guess let's kind of move on to what would be kind of your maybe most high profile thing up to that point, which would have been the Jack Starr's Burning Star. Is that kind of the first thing you kind of got involved in?
Let's see. Well, before that, I actually I had a little twisted. So me and my drummer, we grew up in Island Park, which was the hometown. I don't know if you remember, there was a club called Speaks. You guys familiar with on Long Island?
Yes.
Yeah. So Twisted Sister was big there, and you know, whenever they played there, they'd pack it. There were lines around the building, and before they got the record deal, my drummer and I got introduced to them because we knew their guy. He was older than us, and he brought us kind of into their circle, and we sold T-shirts for the band. We didn't get paid for it. Obviously, just, you know, helped them with the merchandise, sold their shirts, and then fast forward when we had our own band together, they had to open for them because they were comfortable with us, and you know, they kind of were paying us back the favor because we always sold their merch, and you know, we were at their shows and everything. So when we had our band, they put us on with them, and we did probably open for 30 different shows. That was with a band called WDFA. And that's when I started writing originals. We were mostly a cover band, but we did a lot of originals too. But we were young kids, you know, going out and opening for Twin Sister. I was probably like 20 years old at the time. So that's kind of how I got my feet wet. Singing when I was about 15, took lessons. When I was about 17, I started taking vocal lessons and playing in clubs, making a few bucks. And then Jack was my first record deal. I was 24 years old. And I remember we were signed to Passport Records at the time, which is a big deal. I remember going to Roosevelt Field Mall and seeing my album, and this the first time, such a thrill.
Wow.
And
That was a pretty cool
it
lineup
was a
when you
short-lived
look back.
band, but
Yeah. Well, when you look back at that, that was a
yeah,
cool
I
lineup
don't think a
because
lot of
you had what Greg D'Angelo from White Line as a drummer, and you had
yep,
Bruno Ravel, of course, Danger
yep,
fame as a bass player with you and Jack. Yeah.
yep, yeah, and a lot of people didn't know that because when the album came out, there were different people in the band with pictures. You know, Tony Galtieri and they kind of filled the void because Bruno and went took off, played with White Lion. I think Greg got the White Lion gig,
Yeah.
so he was only doing stuff for a minute. So when we actually did the live shows after the album came out, they weren't in the band. But
Ah,
I'm
okay.
really good friends with Bruno. You know, we're still really good buddies to this day. Bruno and Steve, we kind of grew up together.
Mm,
Bruno and Steve from Danger, that is.
sure. Yeah.
So you came with Jack pretty much on the heels of when he got done with doing the album with Red Forrester.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was his first. That was the first album. I was the first singer for Burning Star, and then Mike Torelli was after me.
right.
Yeah,
Then he had Mike
and I
Torelli.
know.
He had Sammy Avigal for a while, and then he had Todd Michael Hall.
Yeah,
He went through a lot of guys.
Yeah, we
yeah,
had
yeah.
we had Todd on. I know he was on the later Jack Star Burning Star albums. We had him on a few weeks ago on the podcast.
Did you cross paths
And
with George
Jack.
Cintron at all?
Yeah, I know George very well. We've actually done some gigs together. You know, a duo. We did some duo gigs on Long Island, and I actually hired George for a couple of parties to live along. You know, some like family things where they wanted him to come and play and sing, and I would get up and sing with him. So yeah, I keep in touch with them a little bit. And my good buddy Rob DiMartino, bass player, plays with George and Bobby Rondinelli. So I'm
Yeah,
in touch with
those
those
guys are still
guys. Yeah,
playing out
George.
there. I see them all the time on the Long Island scene playing.
Well,
Yeah,
George still
Tom.
does. Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever saw George, I was I must have been like 17, 18. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we went to this little like pub in Phil Center, and he was in a band called Tattoo. We were like blown away because he was unbelievable. You know, not only playing but like hitting all these high notes. And
That's
that
what I
was the
wanted to talk
first
to. I
time.
mean, I've never met him or talked to him, and I'd love to have him on the podcast. I never understood how he didn't like hit big. That EP he had out was fantastic. That
Really good.
four-song
Yep,
EP was
yep,
great. And if you
yep.
watch there's loads of live stuff in the Long Island clubs with him and the
Hmm.
band that he had. They were killer.
Yep.
They had great songs. He was so talented, and he just never got signed, and just never did anything else in the '80s.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. So it's those things you just can't wrap your head around it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of time and luck and all kinds of stuff involved.
Yeah,
It's not just about who you know and connections, but my buddy Greg Smith actually played in. I think he might have actually been on that EP. Bass player Greg Smith
yeah.
was my
Greg Smith,
bass.
he played with Rainbow for a while too, and
Yeah, he was my bass player in DV.
right.
So yeah, he ended up playing with George for a while before, before we played together. Early '80s, I guess it was, right? Like I don't know when that album came out, maybe like 83, 84, something
80,
like that.
yeah, 83. 83 it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had that song Getaway on it that kind of was like pretty popular, like in the area, like that EP was, I
Yeah.
mean, all the record stores I hung out in, everybody was like, yeah, I thought that was the shit. And it just never,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just didn't take off for him for whatever reason. But I was just curious if you knew him, because to me, he was like a
Yeah.
cult, like I grew up in Brooklyn. So like all that Long Island scene I knew. I used to go out there to Rum Bottoms and Hammerheads and saw Zebra when they used to just do Zeppelin covers and clubs. So
Yeah.
I was kind of plugged into that whole scene. And Syntron always remained to be like an enigma how that guy didn't make it, It was weird.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he still is great. He was a talented dude. So you're familiar with Lemoore, right? Lemoore in Brooklyn, because I played there a bunch
Oh
of times
yeah,
too.
God, I probably saw 100 shows there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my band opened for Twisted Sister there when I was like 20 years old,
Really?
and I was a little nervous
I
because
bet.
their fans were rough, man.
Oh
They
yeah.
wanted,
No, when they used to play there, it
they
was
would
like
stand in the front row and go like, they would,
right,
they would be
right,
like,
right. That's the way people were at shows
Twisted
back then.
Sister.
No.
It's
Wow.
amazing. Like people weren't afraid to tell you suck back then, but now everybody's great.
It was, it was because I guess we're similar age, and I grew up at, in the whole '70s scene in New York also, and it was very
Yeah.
customary to it was just you had to give the opening band a hard time. If you didn't, it was like you weren't doing your job. And there were some bands that were fine with it, and there were some bands you could actually see were rattled by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lemoore's was a tough crowd, really tough crowd for opening bands.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was good, because I got thrown into the fire at
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great learning
I
experience
had
at
to
20
swim
years
my way
old.
to shore.
Right. Yeah, no, totally.
Well, you talked about, you mentioned Devious. Talk a little bit about that band, because that was, Greg Smith and John Levin too, right? Was in that band, who
Yep.
obviously went on to play with Dokken.
Yep. So and Charlie Ambrosia, who's my buddy who grew up with me in Island Park, was the guy I mentioned who was he used to sell T-shirts for Twisted Sister, which I just mentioned a little while
Yeah.
ago. He was the
Okay.
drummer. He was the original
Right.
drummer. And John Levin and Smith. It was a killer band, Obviously, if I played with them, they probably went on to become famous. That's kind of like, my mom.
Yeah.
So I've with a lot of name people, but it's funny, even in my wedding bands, right? Like aside from, I started with Jack, and then I played with John and Greg Smith and Devious. We were together like almost 4 years. And then John left the band to go on tour with Doro at the time. I guess at the time it was called Warlock. So he left
Warlock,
us
yeah.
to go to Warlock. And then not that far after that, Greg got the gig with Alice Cooper. So he was out, and then it was just me and the drummer. I tried to piece the band together, but wrote all the songs together. So, it didn't really happen, but we came really close. We were on a compilation CD with Skid Row when they were first coming out before they got signed. We were doing record company auditions for some, really big people, like, Jason Flom and, the Arista, Clive Davis's group. And we had management with money that were investing in us, and we came really close. But as we were finally starting to get to that point, John got an offer, and he was young. He was the youngest one in the band. He had stars in his eyes. He was like, you know what, I'm doing this. I want to go on to what went off with Doro. Greg got the Alice Cooper gig not after that. So Devious, we had a good buzz going. We had a good following. We used to play we headlined the Limelight and all those big places in Manhattan. We had a following on Long Island, and a lot of record company interest. We were on K-Rock, BAB, and all that. But as the closer we were getting, members were leaving. So unfortunately, it didn't happen. And then right after that, I hooked up with Ross the Boss from Manowar.
Okay.
And I played with him. Me and him wrote a bunch of songs together. He left Manowar at the time, wanted to do something a little more commercial. So he left Manowar. He had a big ad in the papers, and he auditioned a bunch of guys. I ended up in the gig. He and I wrote a bunch of songs together. The band was called The Pack. We got signed by to a development deal by John Laudner, who was like the big guy for Aerosmith and some other big artists.
Yeah.
Sure.
And time they were signing a lot of bands, but they didn't have the budget to release all the bands. They were signing a bunch, starting the album, and then seeing how many they were going to actually release. And our album ended up. So it never really saw the light of day, but that was a very good band. And we had some good tunes. So once our album got shelved, we stuck it out for a little bit, didn't really do anything. And then that's when I joined on with Last Time, and that was kind of my last hair band thing from like 90 to 92, before the grunge came in and all.
Yeah.
So when you got signed by a label like that and they didn't put out the album, did the material stay yours, or they held the rights to it?
No, I mean, we still had it. I actually had a couple of songs that I released on compilation later on in the years. So I never had any issue with copyright or anything. Just had to get, us to sign off on it because he co-wrote with me. But no, I guess at that time they didn't really care. They'd sign 20 bands, maybe they'd release 4 or something like that. But a lot of heartbreak in the business. It's not for the thin-skinned, I always say.
Oh,
But,
no, absolutely not.
My other thoughts up on me here.
Because I would think anything that if you actually recorded like or an album or a better part of an album with Ross the Boss, that would have, the way Manowar fans are, they're just one notch below Kiss fans. That would have a lot of appeal for people.
Yeah, we never actually released the full album. Ross contacted me a couple of years ago saying he had somebody interested in releasing the songs, and he wanted to know what I thought about it. I said, I think it's great. Let's do it, and never heard anything after that. So that album never really got released, but I did have a couple of songs that I had out on my my collection album, and then another album that I released through Andrew McNeese, like that he did for melodic rock. But no, that was never actually released as an album by itself.
I would think there'd be a lot of interest in it, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, I think
And then
Lion's Pride. Not Lion's Pride? What's the label you use, Frank, for your compilation?
that was Lion's Pride was
Lion's
my
Pride. Yeah. I mean, it's a great compilation because a lot of people didn't realize the other stuff you were doing as well. So it was a great to get it out there.
Yeah, I liked it. I was very happy that the work came out, and everybody was accommodating. I had no issues. I talked to everyone about the rights, because I had co-written all the songs, but actually I wanted to get everybody's blessing on it, so that worked out well. Obviously, the Marcello-Vestry thing was my history. I still get messages all the time from people saying, "Hey, when are you going to do another album?" But it was difficult because that album took us such a long time to do. Um, and it was kind of me, Bruno, and Rob doing everything on it. And the money just wasn't there for a follow up, unfortunately. You know, yeah, we had a few offers, but they were kind of lowball offers. And you know, Rob being in Sweden and Bruno being in New Jersey, I'm in Florida. I mean, not that that's a big deal nowadays. You know, we could do everything virtually, but just the fact that we I couldn't get enough money to really entice those guys to do another one. That's what it boiled down to.
While we're talking about it now, we've jumped a bit, but I was going to say, of course, later on about the Vestry album, but Marcello-Vestry, but when you did that album, so I was living in Sweden then. So basically, when that album came out, to me, myself,
Get around, huh, bro?
Hey,
I said you get around, huh?
Oh,
I do.
yeah, yeah.
That's another podcast. But I was going to say, so the album comes out, and Tom and I talk sometimes about albums in the 80s, especially 85 onwards. The production and the way the album's made has a very distinctive sound to the album. So the Marcello-Vestry album, it sounded like an 80s album. It sounded, you know what I mean? Raw, fresh, you know what I mean? There was no overproduction. There was no, you know, smoothing things out. It was a really great album. So when I first played it, I was like, wow. Took me back to, you know, late 80s, you know, a real nice vibe, the whole thing. And of course, did you and Bruno write all the songs together?
Me and Rob wrote all of the songs together, and Bruno co-wrote, I wanted 3 or 4 of the songs with us. So the 3 of us probably wrote maybe 4 of the songs, and the other 6 were just me and Rob. Yeah. But see, that's what happened. You have 3 guys that are still stuck in a time machine.
Right.
It comes out sounding like 1989.
You're talking
we just
to 3
transported
guys. That's
ourselves.
okay.
There's 3 more guys here, same.
Yeah, we're okay with that.
Yeah.
The next question on while we're talking about it. So when you made the album, was there a, you know, a general consensus that you were going to make it this way, to sound this way? You know what I mean? It's like you had this pre-idea that it would be this, I don't like to use the word nostalgic, because nostalgic usually means old, but it's not, is it? It's a revamping, isn't it?
So yeah, so what happened was that album came to be is Rob actually had the record deal as a solo player, right? And he didn't just want to do a guitar album. So he wanted it, you know, he wanted it to be like a melodic rock album with vocals and harmonies and, you know, big ands and stuff like that. So he could have just done it, you know, and done like a Satriani kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Bruno said to me, I had never even met Rob. So Bruno suggested that Rob get all, and he played him some of my stuff. And he said, I think this is like a really good match for what you want to do. So when the 3 of us connected, I said, what do you want to do with this? Do you want it to have like a little bit of a newer edge? And they want 80s, you know, they want it to sound like what we do. Yeah. And so we don't have to pull back or try to make it sound current or anything like that. So just went with our natural instincts, you know, and the song's pretty.
Oh yeah, definitely. Great,
you know,
great.
when he played, he would play me riff, would send me recordings of all these riffs, and I just came up with these melodies and ideas, and then I would take it to Bruno and say, what do you think of this? You know, and I remember writing Fireworks on, I went out on the 4th of July and I came home that night. I got home I was at a party, and I actually wrote that song in like an hour. Coming home on the 4th of July, I wrote Fireworks. Yeah.
Great track.
Just came to me, and rattling off.
Yeah, it's a terrific album.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank
the
you. I
thing
get
is,
a lot of.
sorry, the thing is, when it came out, it wasn't like now. In the last 4 or 5 years, there's a lot of bands who are following the same, I wouldn't say they're copying, but there's a bubble now of bands that sound very similar. When the Vestry,
Yeah.
when the Vestry came out, it was very different, yeah, original.
Thank you. That's because I watch a lot of sports, and I don't listen to a lot of music. So I didn't.
This is the perfect podcast: sports, music, beer. This is it.
So all types of spirits.
What do you got over there?
It's not beer.
Another nice thing as well is when we have these chats with artists and everything, it's really nice that we can talk about anything as well. You know what I mean? It's not just we have to zone in on certain things, just let the conversation happen.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I was going to ask Frank while we're still on the Marcello-Vestry album is, 10 years ago, last time was Firefest in England, and Danger came over with the full lineup, and I had a chat with Bruno in the hotel one evening having a beer, and he actually said to me that it wasn't the most enjoyable album, but it was the most satisfying album he was involved in, because basically it was easy to make. It was really straightforward. Everything fitted into place. There was no stress.
Yeah, no. Bruno and I get along great. I have much respect for him as a producer and musician, and we had no problem going back and forth on ideas, and we did the harmonies together. He and I did a lot of the vocal parts, and I respect his opinion. When he came to me with an idea to, maybe slightly change an arrangement or something, I was open to it. And no, we work great together. He's recorded a bunch of stuff for me in over the years, and I remember 2005 when Foreigner selected Kelly Hansen. I had an opportunity to
I was going to ask about that next.
audition for Foreigner.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah.
You're stealing JJ's thunder. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, go back.
Yeah.
All right. So back to Marcello-Vestry.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was, we can just swap and change the time periods. I've got some mutual friends of yours in Florida, so now and again, I'll get some video on Facebook of you playing in Boca Raton or whatever with your band. And a few months ago, you were saying about your auditions for Foreigner, sending in the audio and everything. So my big question was, how far did that go? I'm thinking, so they do the what was the last Lou Gramm album? 95, wasn't it? It was what was it called? The last one?
No, Mr. Moonlight.
Mr. Moonlight.
Mr. Moonlight. Yes, yeah. So this would have been that period then, 95, 96.
Oh no, this was much later when Kelly
Kelly
joined the band. I
Hansen
think it was
period,
2004.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
So that was after this. That they had this sort of, I don't know, 5 or 6 years of nothing going on, and then
Because Johnny Edwards replaced
Yes.
Graham after that.
when
that
Lou
period,
when Lou did Shadow King, Johnny Edwards came
Yeah.
in, and then Lou came back for the Mr. Moonlight album.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was then jumping ahead again when I'm trying to think. It would have been about 2001 or something like that, maybe.
No, 2004.
Okay.
2004, 2005, when Kelly actually got the gig, was when I was in running for it. And So at the time, I was dealing with an agent because an agent that I know in the business said to me, "Hey, I he was good friends. The agent I knew was good friends with Phil Carson, who was directly involved with Foreigner and also used to be the president of Atlantic Records." And he said, "Hey, I think you'd be really good. I know Foreigner's looking. You know, they're auditioning. I was considering you. What do you think?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'd be a good fit." And he said, "Well, I need you to get a recording right away. I have their music tracks from the band, but I need it done like yesterday." So I called Buddy Bruno and I said, "Hey, can you squeeze me in for a session? I have to record the Foreigner tracks. I have the band's audio, and I'm gonna have it sent to your studio, and let me know." So within like the next 2 days, I drove out to Jersey, and I recorded the 3 songs in like 2.5 hours. You know, I didn't really have that much time. And I remember because that night, my friend's bachelor party. So I did the recording, and then I drove to my friend's bachelor party. Bruno mixed it up, sent it to me, sent it to the agent next day, and he said I played it for Phil Carson, loved it, you know. And I actually put a video on YouTube of the audition, the actual audio audition that I did. I'll send it to you guys if you guys never heard it. But I said, "What should I do when I do this? Should I try to sound like Lou, or should I try to be myself?" And he said, I think you should try to sound as much like Lou as possible. So that's what I did. And I did Hot Blooded, Cold as Ice, and I Wanted to Love, those 3 songs. And then I was told that, I was moving up the chain, and then at the end, it was between me and Kelly, which I didn't, Kelly at the time. I was just told it was between me and a singer from California and a singer from the UK. And then I knew, I found out it was Kelly, but it dragged on for a few months. Never, obviously I never got to do a live audition for them. I think they kind of had their mind made up because Kelly was friends, and they were both California guys. He and Jeff Pills,
Right.
the band. So I think he kind of had a leg up. But Kelly was great. I mean, he did a great job, and I thought he was a really good
track,
fit.
Sorry, Frank. I've heard your tracks, Frank. The 3 you mentioned, I've heard them. Tom and Mark, have you heard his?
I have not. No.
No.
Very good. And you're right. You do sound like Lou, but it's the right way to go because the fan base is already there, and they literally like Journey did. I mean, when they hired into the Philippines and hired the guy, it basically then was to make the fan base happy. I think Foreigner did the same thing because yours and Kelly's vocals are quite similar. When I've heard your renditions of the tracks, I mean, you wouldn't know that it's someone trying for a band. It sounds like the actual singer in the band. They're great. One quick question though, Frank. So when you did those tracks, was that just yourself in the studio, produced yourself, and just sent them over?
Yeah, it was just me.
Yeah.
I forwarded the music tracks from the agent
Yeah.
to Bruno. He downloaded the music, and they already had vocal on it. So all I had to do was the lead vocals.
Yeah.
And it was just me. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds great. Really good. Really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Would have been a different life decision for you, though, I suppose. Joining Foreigner then, because they were touring, weren't they? For I don't know, 15
They were busy,
years. Right. Yeah.
And it's funny. I met my wife. I want to say like my current wife. We've been together now 20 years, so it was 2005.
Right.
I remember her and I went to see them at Jones Beach right after Ellie got the gig, like months later. And we have a 12-year-old daughter, which I wouldn't have right now if if I would have got that gig, my life would have taken a different turn. So
Definitely, definitely, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Well,
things
that
happen
was
for a
turned into
reason.
be a meat grinder of a gig. I mean, you know, the touring was relentless
Mm,
on that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Kelly Hansen aged
yeah.
like 40 years in the 20 years that he was in that band. You could see that they really, you know, because they just never came off the road. It was
No,
crazy.
It's a big sacrifice. I mean, you miss a lot of stuff, you know,
yeah,
family events and, you know, weddings, funerals, you name it, you know, you
yeah,
miss it. But it's a sacrifice, but it's what we do, you know. And I I always say um, the way things went for me, people always ask me, you know, are you sad or do you have regrets? And I really don't. Uh, I'm full time now. I'm enjoying it. It's been a great run, and I look at it like every gig I do from here on out is just kind of like icing on the cake. And although I never made it to that level of stardom or anything like that, I wouldn't have changed anything, you know, because I'm still enjoying it, having a good time, and I'm still grateful for everything.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
you
I
know,
have a question for you,
very few people made it.
and this is about singing and vocals, and something you said where they wanted you to sound like Lou Graham. How difficult is that for a singer to sound like somebody that you necessarily don't normally sound like?
Well, honestly, for me, I grew up doing covers. I started doing covers since I was 15 years old. So back in the day, you remember Zebra, right? They were so
Yeah,
popular
yes, I
because,
saw them before they were signed in Long Island, actually.
yeah, and the reason they got popular is because they did Zeppelin, and everybody would say Zebra does Zeppelin to the T, you know?
Hmm.
And I feel like when you're doing covers, what impresses people the most is if you're trying to sound like the artist, the band,
Okay.
Yeah,
the guitar player,
yeah,
lead, you know. And I feel like if you want to express yourself, you do original. But when you're doing this is just my take as their own. If you want to express yourself musically, you do originals. And when you do covers, your goal, at least mine is to try to sound like the artist. So I'd always been doing covers since I was 15 years old. So I was kind of used to trying to copy the phrasing of the singer, to get the inflections, to try to kind of sound, even though everyone has their own voice, I wanted to sound as much as I could. And I feel like Lou is a pretty good fit for me. So it wasn't really that difficult for me to do it like Lou, because every time I'd sang a foreigner song, I'd want to kind of sound like him anyway, you know. Plus, he's a great guy to emulate.
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, no, it was because I personally I never thought Kelly Hansen sounded that much like Lou Graham, even when he was in Foreigner. And being I was a big fan
Right.
of Hurricane, when I would hear people, I saw them a lot of times, and people say, "Oh, he sounds exactly like Lou Graham," and I say to myself, "No, it sounds like Hurricane
Yeah, yeah,
singing." I
yeah,
didn't really get the whole thing. I didn't think he
yeah.
sounded like Lou Graham all that much at all.
No,
Well, the
no.
new guy I feel like sounds like even much less even,
Even
Yeah,
less,
I would
yes,
agree for
yeah.
Mm,
sure.
right?
yeah,
I think he's great. I think he's got a voice, but not really doesn't really fit the Lou thing as far as I'm concerned. I what you just mentioned Hurricane. I have a quick funny one for you. When Poison 1986, when Poison first broke, before they made it to the point of where they were playing stadiums, they were just doing like smaller places.
Hmm.
They played Lemoore East and Queens. They headlined, and Hurricane and Devious were on the same bill
Ah,
with them.
Really?
We
wow.
yeah, it was my band Devious with John Levin and Greg Smith, Kelly Hansen and Hurricane, which was what Rudy Sarzo's brother was on bass, I
Yes.
believe,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and and Michaels and, CC and Poison before, I think they had one song or maybe two songs that were starting to get buzzed, but they did, they weren't a stadium yet, but
Wow.
they were
Rudy
probably
Sazzo's brother actually was
two,
the
three
guitar player.
guitar
Yes,
player.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Carlos Cavazos'
yeah,
brother was
Yeah, and
the,
Carlos
was
Cavazos'
the
brother
bass
was the
player.
bass
Tony
player.
Cavazos.
So if there was
Okay.
86, that was like the very beginnings of Hurricane. That was like the first album.
Yeah, and that before Poison hit megastardom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, that's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, I know JJ may have something else, but I wanted to talk about the Lane Slide album. How did you get involved with that project?
That's a great question. So I got contacted first by Alessandro Del Vecchio, and he was involved with it. He played boards and co-wrote some of the songs. They reached out to me. Bruno Kraler out to me, and I didn't know the guys, but they knew of me because of the Marcello-Vestry album, and we just started talking, and they said, "Would you be willing to do an album?" And I said, "What's the direction?" They played me a song or two that they had written before I joined, and I liked it. And then I co-wrote the album with them. I think I co-wrote maybe 8 of the 10 songs on the album. They might have done 1 or 2 before they got with me, and that's pretty much how it came about. They reached me, and we worked out a deal, and we became friends. They visited after that. After we recorded that album, Bruno and Alessandro came out to Long Island. They spent some time with me and my family. They stayed with us for a couple of days out in Manhattan. We had a good time playing with the Monkees. He's from Nashville, Tennessee.
Huh.
And our drummer, Dominic, is from Germany. He was the drummer for Bonfire.
Oh.
So yeah, we had people on that album from all over. We never stepped in the same room together and did that whole album. One guy was in Argentina, 2 in Italy. I was on Long Island at the time. Argentina, Italy. We had guys doing backing vocals in Sweden and
Germany.
They had Michael. You had the
Yeah.
great Michael Borman was even
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
on that. One of my
Yeah.
all-time favorite singers. Phenomenal singer.
Eric Martinson, right? Was he? I think he
Eric
did.
Martinson
yeah.
sang
That
backup
too.
vocals on it, and Bobby Alvatar,
Yeah.
who was a
Yep.
big name in the German scene. It was
Yep.
a lot of buzz
He
on that
actually
album
played
when it came out.
That's the
Yeah.
interesting. We were saying earlier about the Marcello-Vestry album sounding like the 80s. The Landslide album, like you've just said, was recorded in many different countries digitally, all the files sent and compiled, but still sounds very, very
Yes.
pure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It had a different vibe. I did have European
Oh yeah, it was a European sounding
musical
album.
style with American, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, when I heard it, my brain says that this must have been made, early 90s or late 80s. A re-release. Someone's found this, but no, it's, as you just said, it's literally making something, different countries, everyone putting in their input in, and it sounds great, really great. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that doing that album also. I had a good time with those guys. It was good collaboration.
What I always found
Um,
interesting about that album was and this is my opinion, they left the best song off the album and put it on as a Japanese bonus track.
Yeah.
Change Your Mind.
I agree. Yeah.
I thought that was the best
really?
song on the album.
Yeah.
They left it off and just put it as a Jap bonus track,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I was like, usually
Yeah.
like leave like the kind of the crappiest song that you recorded off the album and give the Japanese that. You don't give them the best song on the
No.
album.
That's interesting. All right.
Again,
That's a
that's
good
my
one.
opinion. I mean, you
Yeah,
may think it,
it's a
maybe
great, it's
you
a
think
great track.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
No,
great song.
I like that track as well.
I
The
thought it was a fun.
the acoustics track of Understand, we also had Bruce Gage play guitar from Chicago and Pizza
Really?
Terra. He played acoustic guitar on that track. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
So he
that was
must
on
have
the
dropped
bonus
some
track.
bucks on this album because there were a lot of heavyweight guys involved with this album.
Yeah.
Either that or I think maybe there were good shows, and they got
A lot of favors
got
being
these-
paid back. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got a decent amount of money for it. We kind of met in the middle of what I wanted and what I wanted and what they wanted to pay me. So it was pretty good. I can't complain. I wish there was more money in it, but it's not even the money. It's just that for me to do another album now, it's just such a time consuming thing, and family and my other bands and booking and all that stuff. It takes a big chunk out of your life, so I'd have to be compensated. But even more importantly than me is like Bruno and Rob aren't going to play for free. So that's why I feel bad, because I've had many messages like, come on, we want another Marcello-Vestry album. And I said, I'd love to be able to do it, but I'm only one piece of the puzzle. I can't just do it on my own.
No.
So
No. Quick question. So have you ever
but
been, you three, have you ever been approached to do any gigs or anything? So, there's all of these, festivals now, retro 80s rock bands, early 90s. Have you ever been asked to do like a couple of gigs of, Marcello-Vestry lineup?
after that album came out, I'd say a year or two later, there was some talk about to one of those events with the multiple bands. I think it was Firefest or something, but
Yeah.
it never came to fruition. They tried to get us on, but then I guess they had some issues with the festival, and I don't know, there was no money in it, and
Yeah.
obviously it's a big expense for us to have, even if we didn't make money, just to have Rob come from Sweden, and we're in different areas. So, probably not enough money to pay us. But that one time there was talk of us doing something. We were considering it.
Yeah, it would be nice.
We
nice
would have had
to
to get
see the band live. Yeah, it'd be a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, all we need is a drum. We actually had BJ Zampa.
Oh wow.
BJ Zampa played on that one. I did one more song after that called "When You Grow Up," that was on a compilation album.
Oh,
And
He's
that
a
was a
terrific
Marcello
drummer.
Vestry song.
Yeah.
Yeah, B is really good.
Terrific
Great
drummer.
track on that.
Yeah, huge fan of his. Really, really good drummer.
I just saw him in his Deep Purple cover band a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's
Beyond
unbelievable
Purple.
how so. Yeah, Zoltan Chaney from.
With
he's
Slaughter?
down here playing. He was down. Yeah, he was down here playing with one of the Van Halen.
We'll talk about.
I was starting to say. Yeah, but I had a wedding band. I was in a wedding and corporate band when I lived on Long Island. It was a New York band. My keyboard player was Brockett Parsons, who's been in Lady Gaga's band now for like, I don't know, 10, 12 years.
Wow.
He's the guy that plays the circular keyboard.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's like 5 and he stands in the middle and he's surrounded by, it's called the ARC keyboard or something.
Yes,
like
I've
that.
seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my keyboard player in my wedding band, believe it or not, for like years. Brian
Really?
Dunn from Hall & Oates was our original drummer. He had the
So when you say
player from
Frank, when you say wedding band, this is it. This it's a super group, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's not
yeah,
just
believe it or not,
wedding band.
it was a super group that put
Yeah.
ties and tuxedos on to make money.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
we'd
if you're
all
lucky, if you're
prefer
lucky
to
enough
be
to be at
playing
the
rock.
wedding, you'd see you play. Yeah, cool. But when you said wedding band, I thought Adam Sadler, wedding singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little different, but yeah, not far.
Well, you kind of continued on with that. You moved down to Florida, you said about 9 years ago, and
Yeah.
you've been doing, I think you said for the last 7, you've been doing Smoke and Renegade. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I moved to Florida, I definitely did not want to do weddings and corporate events anymore, even though the money was good. I wanted to rock and do something different. First year and a half down here, a little bit of a drag. I was guys earlier. I was making like $125 gigs, couldn't get much going. And then I said, I love Boston. Brad Delp is one of my idols, vocals. I want to do a Boston tribute because nobody's doing it. So as soon as I put the Boston tribute together, things just took off, and fortunes changed down here. And then I started getting good gigs, good money. My band has gained popularity over the years, so now we do about 40 shows a year with this tribute band, and then I do some pickup gigs on the side as well. But we play all up and down Florida. We play from like Miami to Orlando, Daytona, and we've done some pretty big shows. We play every summer. We play at Daytona Beach, 3,000 people.
Wow.
We play some of the big theater shows, outdoor theaters. Played Jacksonville Beach on the fly. So yeah, we play in front of a nice amount of people, and we're having a really good time doing it, making good money, and we do Austin, Styx, and Foreigner tribute. It's called Smoke and Renegade is Austin and Styx, and then Forever Foreigner is the Foreigner tribute. Depending on the venue and what they want, we kind of give them the choice of like what they like, and we
I've seen
whatever.
some of your videos you put on Facebook of gigs you play, and like you just said, some of venues are huge, or some will be a nice, cozy bistro bar area and everything. Really good, really good.
We do thank you. Yeah, we do some smaller stuff, with a few hundred people, and then we do some bigger ones with a few thousand people. But they're all fun. We're having a good time. The people really enjoy it. I tell you, the people in Florida love rock music. In New York, New Jersey, very diverse, and I feel like people are kind of fickle with the music, and Florida, a lot of classic rock fans. So there's a big market for people that come out to see the bands. They're like 40 to 70, that's the age range. But they go out and they have a good time. They want to enjoy the music, spend money, dance, sing along. So it's a good music scene down here for sure.
I'll tell you about what my experience of Florida music is. I was in Hollywood. We landed in Fort Lauderdale, and we stayed the first night in Hollywood. So we get into the town, check into the hotel, and there's a bar on the beach. So we go for a few beers. It's like 3 a.m. It's packed with people. Anyway, there's literally like a band playing at 3 a.m. They probably started earlier, but they were playing all these covers and everything. And I said to one of the guys sitting next to me, I said, "Oh, who is this?" So he said, "Oh, this is the area to be in, where basically 3 or 4 nights a week there'll be a rock band playing. That's it. There is no like other culture. It's just pub, bar, rock music."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jen and I got in Hollywood. Yeah, in one of the hotels in Hollywood, the Diplomat. Really nice area.
Yeah, it's a nice place. The only strange thing is when we're driving down to the hotel, you see these signs that say French cable TV. And I think, wow, that must be a real bonus if you've got French cable TV in the hotel. You can imagine the conversation. Oh, we'll stay there. They have French cable TV.
Yeah. Where can people keep up to date, Frank? Is it smokingrenegade.com?
Yes.
And we can see all the shows coming up in Florida there.
Yeah, we do. We have our schedule on there, some videos, and
Frank's
about
very good at
stuff.
self promoting. So on his Facebook profile, I mean, we've been friends a few years on Facebook. I always have a look at his stuff. He's really good. You know, it's as you were saying, different shows, big capacity, small capacity, but same kind of thing. And also, you have friends who film your shows, Frank, and put them on Facebook. I've noticed, you get people tagging you in. How many shows do you play? Because it seems like you're doing about 4 or 5 gigs at least a month.
That's about right. I'd say the last 2 years I've done shows each of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
With my main band, Smoking Renegade, we're do about 40. And then I have another band that it's called GD. It's Decades of Rock, but that's kind of like phasing out. And I have a new band coming out called Vinyl Highway with 5 guys, really good musicians. And actually, 2 of them are from New York originally, Q and the drummer. And that's going to be started in January. So figure like I do about 40 shows a year with Smoking Renegade. Maybe I'll do another 20 or so with Vinyl Highway. And then I do a couple of fill-ins here and there. So I do about 70 shows a year, which is plenty
Nice.
for me. I mean,
Yeah,
I could book myself more like during the week doing smaller stuff, but I'm happy doing, what I'm doing now, 4 or 5 a month. That's about average. I have friends that play, see, the good thing about Florida is the weather is so nice. They have just about every restaurant or bar has live music.
Yeah.
And the ones have, like solo duos.
Yeah.
Mm.
They'll have
Pretty much
music
year
Monday,
round too,
Tuesday,
right?
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Year
That's
round
what I say.
and just about, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're a solo guitar player that can sing, if you're good, you can get gigs down here pretty much play regularly. I don't want to do that much, but I'm happy with doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And as you say,
Let me ask you a question. How difficult is it for you to remember when you're doing so many different projects and cover band? How difficult is it to remember the lyrics to all these songs?
It's a little difficult, but it's old school work ethic. I hate to say it, man, but you see all people now with iPads on stage, and it drives me crazy, man.
Yeah, it's very
You
unprofessional.
gotta
It turns me off too.
you got to put the time, and like when I was starting out, man, there was no such thing as iPads and all that shit. So you had to really learn the damn song,
Right.
and even if it meant writing out the lyrics by hand and drilling it into your head until you knew it, because I feel like when I go on stage, if I have to think about the words, I'm not going to be able to perform.
Right.
I want to be able to perform freely, and the only way I could do that if I'm prepared, and preparation breeds confidence. So I'm always going to learn the lyrics, and once I get it in my head, it's like emblazoned in there for the remainder of my life. I'm lucky in that regard that I can
Well, that
retain
too,
it.
yeah.
But if you put the tone on, yeah.
I mean, we've seen over the years, even guys in, the biggest professional bands have the monitors on the stage, the teleprompter lyrics, and they're looking down. And other guys are just, fantastic. It just like it depends on, especially when you get to a certain age, how well your memory, retains.
Yeah. So far, thankfully, I'm.
Yeah.
No, it's great
to,
because I hate I hate when you see somebody that has the little screen up on the thing and they're doing this, and it
Yeah.
takes away, so it's so unprofessional looking.
I mean, the only time I use my iPad is if I have like someone hires me to do like a track show, like I'm doing it. We want you to, it's like a little party in the backyard. We want to
Yeah, well,
hire
that's something
you.
different. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah. So then I need the music. I have the music tracks. So
right.
I have that in front of me, But other than that, especially like if your band is, if you're in a professional band and you're asking a venue, to pay you like three, four, five, $6,000, and then you show up reading off an iPad,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
it's
doesn't
brutal.
look.
Yeah, it's a terrible look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the time in and really try to learn the lyrics before I get out there.
Okay.
And also, it's not so much you got to learn the song, but you got to learn the style to sing the song. You know what I mean? So you're doing a really good rendition of a great track. You've got to make sure you're singing, in the style of the track as well.
Right, the melody, the timing, the phrasing,
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. It's I always think, covers bands, talented musicians. It's not just about playing a song. You've got to be the band, because the people who come to your shows want to hear the song word perfect.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, I tell, even when I book shows with clients, and they say to me, "Oh, I have this much of a budget." I say, "Sorry, I can't do it for that amount. We have an amount that we need to get, and if you can't match it, that's okay. I'm okay with saying no." But I try to explain to people that music is a product just like anything else, and you generally get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
all the people that I try to associate myself with, guys that take pride in doing it and they really put the time in. Like my guitar player, he'll sit down every song note for note. He'll spend hours learning the soul of the Boston Stick songs, but it makes a difference. People notice it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sure.
Me, I'm, when I see cover bands, doesn't matter what country it is, I'm always looking forward to the lead guitarist playing the solo. No, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, it's if they cut corners, make it smaller, make it more, diluted. It's like a karaoke version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. I was going to say, Frank, I'm going to jump back now to Last Temptation. I was going to say it earlier, but we jumped forward. When all that stuff was happening, and you got the demos done and got some production done, how close were you then to actually getting a real, physical release? As in that time period. I mean, not afterwards.
You mean with Last Temptation?
Yes.
I think the biggest problem with Last Temptation was when we got together, it was kind of like starting to fizzle a little bit,
Right.
The grunge was starting to come in, and it was kind of like this was our last shot,
Yeah.
late 1990 into 91. And then when 1992 came, I just knew it was over.
Yeah.
The band was really great. I mean, we had some really good songs and we had great musicians. I feel like maybe
you had the songs and the look. As you say, though, you're probably a couple of years too late.
Yeah.
That
was the biggest problem.
I mean, when your compilation album came out a couple of years ago and you put the stuff on there, I can imagine a lot of people never knew about this. You know what I mean? It was new to them.
True.
Yeah.
I definitely had some, and I think through the popularity of the Marcello-Vestry album, I got a lot of people, especially from Europe, that caught on to The Last Temptation and bought the album.
Yeah.
So we re-released it. We sold like 1,000 copies, I think, which was really good.
Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, it's a good album. I mean, it's you know, an 80s, early 90s genre album. It sounds of that period. But as you say, you know what I mean? As you say, if it'd been a little bit earlier, you would have got a proper release and everything. You know, it would have been in that bracket.
Oh, it fit right in with. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you said, it's very period of that, you know, in that
Yeah.
time. It fit in with every other major label band. It sounded like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, so in Europe, 91, 92, two big things happened. 92, they stopped making vinyl. So an example of rare vinyl from 92 is Bon Jovi Keep the Faith album, only released in Europe on vinyl. So once 92 came, the grunge thing happened, and also people stopped buying vinyl. Everyone had CD, and then you had this, you know, digital revolution starting, where not so much downloading, but you could buy music online. So you had Amazon were doing it, Napster. You could buy music, so the whole thing changed, and it was strange because myself, Tom, and Mark, we all buy CDs still. We're physical collectors, and for me, playing a CD is the whole part of listening to music. So when you guys didn't get a release, that took away this, you know, people finding out who you were and buying the CD and blah blah blah. You know, once you don't get a release in the early 90s, that's it, isn't it? It's gone.
Yeah, and even the vinyl was even better, you know, because we all used to look forward to that.
Yeah.
It's funny.
We were talking
back
the other day,
a little bit, right?
We were talking about playing vinyl the other day, and I said it's great. I've got a vinyl player still, but the thing is, as you get older, you hate turning over the record and playing side B.
And the surface noise. The surface noise drove me nuts.
But it sounded warmer.
Yeah. That's just the.
Have you noticed now in all movies, TV shows, whoever the cool guy is in his house or condo, he's got a vinyl player in the background.
Absolutely.
You got one?
Yeah, I was one for That's why
that would render us very uncool.
I have one. I still have.
There you go.
I still have.
I certainly don't.
Yeah.
That's why I said cool guy. Only cool guy.
There you go.
You got one too?
You're the only one who does.
I'm the only one who does it, though.
But I'll be honest, it doesn't get used very often.
I have a CD player as well, but I don't have an 8-track. That I'll have to tell you.
That I don't have either. I still have a cassette deck.
I mean, that's the other thing. So all this revolution now to play old music gets remastered, gets re-released. I noticed cassettes are getting re-released. Now, I had a Walkman, of course, in the 80s. And then it was seen as a revolutionary tool. The only thing with cassettes is the more you play them, the more worn out they get.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So this boom of people buying cassettes, I don't know.
It's a useless medium. I think of all the stuff that's come back, that's the worst thing to come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you know, back in the 80s, you'd record something from a radio show on a cassette, and you play the song or play the music, which was perfect.
Yeah.
Now, you know, my gosh, how many different formats can we play music on?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more for you guys before I forget. This is a very interesting story. So, I remember I was telling you earlier that my drummer and we sold T-shirts for Twisted Sister at the band, and you know, they let us into their circle. They were very private, but they liked us. We were young kids. They took us under their wing. when we had our band ready, they put us on tour with them. We played the tri-state area. We played a lot of the big shows for them. My band, me and my drummer, who eventually went on with me to be in Devious, WDFA, did mostly covers, but some originals. And we probably played with them, I don't know, had to be close to 30 shows. I can't remember places, but you know, all the places they played at in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, upstate New York, Staten Island, the Factory, both L'Amours, you know. And so fast forward to 1985, 86, when I put Devious together with John, we started getting popular in, you know, Long Island, New York, Manhattan. And about 1988, Devious was kind of like starting to known. Everybody kind of was, you know, there was a buzz about us. We were close to getting a record. We were auditioning for some labels. We had kept a relationship with the guys in Twisted Sister, and I was still friendly with Mark and JJ. So one day, and it's JJ from Twisted Sister, and he says to me, "Hey, we got asked to play at the NAMM show, the Kramer concert, and for whatever reason, Dee didn't want to do it. So he said, we want you and John Levin to play with me, Mark, and Joe Franco at the NAMM show." I said, "Okay, when is it?" It's in January in Anaheim. It's at the Celebrity Theater, probably 10,000 people there. All right, who's playing? Oh, us, Motley Crue, Van Halen, Y&T, Def Leppard. I said, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
And before you know it, they had like 10 bands that day. Sam Kinison was actually the host, and I played at the NAMM show. Three of the 5 members in Twisted Sister, and me and John Levin from Doc.
Wow.
So that was a very cool moment.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, you got to come full circle now, because Twisted Sister's back doing shows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
Devious back together and put the band
Yeah,
back
right.
together again.
Hey, I know their manager, so that's a possibility.
Good idea.
There you go.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah. I was going to ask you also, Frank, about you mentioned Y&T then. So when you and Bruno met and you did the album, because he wrote a track on the Contagious album, Temptation, which I think Danger also covered as well. So
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, when you guys met, you must have had a lot in common straight away. You know what I mean, music wise.
Yeah. So ironically, Bruno is also a big Met fan.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that, but he's from Queens originally. I was born in Brooklyn, and then I grew up in Queens. I moved out of Brooklyn when I was 3, and I lived in Queens from like 3 till about 14, 15 years old. And Emily moved to Long Island. But I met Bruno, we were young. We were probably like 19, 20 years old, and we were both playing the clubs together, his band and my band. Tom, I remember you mentioned Syntron earlier.
I didn't know you guys had went so far back. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, we've known each other for many years. We both were from Queens. We both Met fans. We used to go to the Met games together, and he had Danger, and I had a Devious at the same time. So we never really we used to do demos and stuff together. You know, we were actually writing some songs and doing some demos together. We never connected on a band because of the timing. You know, like Devious had started doing Paul, and then he was thinking of doing a band, but then he went on tour with Michael Bolton. He was the bass player in Michael Bolton's band for a while before Danger. And then when they came back from that tour, Michael got really big, and then he got all new players, you know, and Danger, when they came out, you know, it was pretty, I was happy for the guys because they were my buddies, but Yeah, Bruno and I go way back. We used to go shopping on 8th Street for like boots, like the rock and roll boots. And big Mets and Knicks fan. We used to go to sporting events together, basketball, baseball. So we always kept in touch throughout the years. And he kind of recommended me to Rob, like I said before. The Marcello-Vestry thing came about.
He's very, very funny guy. I've met him at festivals in England. Very funny guy. I mean, very sarcastic humor.
Yeah.
That's
And
New
Steve,
York.
right? Steve
Totally.
West, the drummer, is a buddy of mine too. We all used to hang out together because he's from Great Neck, Long Island. So the three of us, I've known those guys for like over 40 years. Crazy, come to think of it.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Anything else? We're running really
Yeah.
long here. We don't
Yeah,
want to.
I was also going to say you and Bruno were probably at Mets games. Tom was there. Probably the same games.
I think I'm a little older
What's that?
than them, so I was probably going to games before they were.
Oh,
I was going to games in the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
my dad probably took me in the 60s when I was a little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
my earliest recollection with the Mets was like at about the 65, 66 seasons. Yeah.
Your parents took you, right? When you were little,
My
that kind of
father
thing?
used to go a lot. We lived in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. We lived like,
Yeah.
I'm from Gerritsen Beach. We lived right by the Bell Parkway. So back in that time, you didn't have the traffic you had today. I mean, you can get to Shea Stadium in, 35, 40 minutes. Used to go a lot.
And I lived in Richmond Hill, Queens, from the time I was like 3 or 4 until about 14, which was like 10 minutes from Flushing, Shea Stadium.
Yeah, right. So you were really in a great spot.
And then, what's crazy? Like, we lived in such a different world back. I remember, like, my stepdad would take me and my friend, and he would drop off at the game when we were 12, 13 years old. And he'd give us our ticket, and we'd go into the game. We'd watch the game. And when the game was over, like 4 hours later, he would come pick us up at the stadium.
Oh man.
Could you imagine doing that with your mom?
No, not today.
No, somebody would call the cops on you.
Exactly,
You put in jail.
yeah. Right.
Times are definitely
I
different.
know I
remember-
wouldn't be able to go to my father's gigs now, but
Yeah.
hell,
Right.
it's fun.
Exactly.
So I think anything else,
No,
JJ? Anything you wanted to?
We're good. Nice.
We're good.
Nice chatting, guys. Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I always
it
think
was-
the best podcasts are the easy, relaxed ones. Talk about anything and everything. It's
For
great.
sure.
Yeah. We'll do a separate one though, Frank. We'll do a
I'm
baseball.
sorry if I went a little over. You guys should shut me up.
No,
That's all right.
it's fine.
We have no time limits.
Yeah.
I always say if
good.
it's something that could like
Right.
emulate the Johnny Carson show, then it was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Definitely, definitely. Because I always think we were talking earlier about cover bands, and it's if you're comfortable doing the stuff, it sounds like the artist. Same with this kind of thing. Conversation can be about anything. There's no format, is there? We can talk about anything. Yeah, it's great.
No, it was great. I had a good time with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, man.
We appreciate it. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. My pleasure.
Everybody check out smokingrenegade.com.
Definitely,
Keep up to
definitely.
date on Frank's stuff going on nowadays. And
Yeah. Any
maybe we'll talk
updates?
again.
Any reunions, Frank? Let us know. Anything's going to be happening.
Absolutely. I actually did it. I did one song with a guy's called, I don't know if you're familiar with Shining Line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Here,
Yeah.
here, Paolo Monti. I did a track for him a while ago. I'd sang lead vocals and background vocals on a track. So that's going to get released at some point. One song that I sang on.
So
I think
same
it's,
before,
he's got,
like 10 different artists, and it's like a compilation
I
thing. Yeah.
believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably a ways off. came out really nice. So
Yeah.
that's all I can say
I mean-
about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, so you wrote the track as well?
I not no. He wrote it, and
Okay.
they wrote it, and they asked me to sing. So
Cool. Cool. I
came
mean,
out
that
nice. It's a really
yeah,
good song.
yeah. The earlier one was really good. Some great tracks on that album. Yeah, really good. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you
Yeah.
guys know. It'll probably be a
Yeah,
while
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Cool.
Something to look forward
Okay,
to.
guys. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks for having me.
You too,
Take care,
Cheers,
Frank.
Frank.
Appreciate
Nice,
it.
Frank.
I'll
See you again,
I'll
mate.
see you on the Mets, all the Mets sites on Facebook.
Yeah. Thomas
Hopefully, with better luck next time, buddy.
Right.
You can spot Thomas. He's the arguing guy.
Well,
Negative.
no, I am, and I'll just get like a thumbs up for Frank. He stays
I
under.
agree, I usually agree with him though.
He
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
agrees with me, but he doesn't want to chime in underneath my comments that usually get me lambasted by all the Met fans.
I'm
Because
the
like,
same. I'm the
because
same.
like I dare to call things the way they are. It's don't ever do that.
I'm the same with soccer, with football and Premier League.
So,
I don't go on the groups after the game, because after the game I've got a lot of pent up anger. So
Right.
Yeah.
I can wait a couple of days. Yeah.
Don't ever say the truth to fans. That's
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Send me some LMB Spumoni Gardens pizza, will you?
we still my girlfriend is from that. She grew up right literally where that is. So we still go there like once
The
a year.
best, right?
Yeah.
It's the
It
best
still is.
pizza in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
it.
miss
I
New
miss
York pizza, Frank? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's funny, because you're all native East Coast, New York. In the rest of the world, it's strange. The advertising and marketing, it's pizza or New York pizza.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So if you go to a place now and they'll here, I'm in Singapore, Malaysia, they will advertise, we have real New York pizza, and I think we're 5,000 miles away.
Yeah.
You're 944 M, correct?
Yes. So I'm literally 12 hours from you guys. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Used to have a client in Malaysia. That's how I know.
Okay. Yeah. So East
right,
Coast, Southeast Asia, 12 hours. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go watch the rest of the game.
Yeah. So Frank. Yeah.
All right, fellas. Thanks for having
All
me
right.
on.
You appreciate
All right.
it. Bye, Frank. Take care.
Cheers, thanks. See you again, man. Thank you.
Bye.
Catch me now, I'm